Welcome to CEWT Talk. This broadcast is brought to you by the Continuing Education Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. This podcast is part of our continuing outreach efforts, and the format is conversational. We will be having conversations with businesses, professionals, entrepreneurs, community agencies, and, in all cases, difference makers. Now, let's get started with CEWT Talk. Hello, everyone. This is Jason Batalden, the Assistant Director at Continuing Education Workforce Training. And I want to thank you for joining us on our weekly podcast here at CEWT, CEWT Talk. And today we have an exciting guest, one of our instructors, Kristi Baldwin. But for our faithful listeners, you're looking around on the screen going, hey, where's Paul? Paul's not there. And yes, you're right. Paul is not with us today. Paul sometimes has to do some other jobs, and he said that he had to do that today on recording day. So for those, I know Paul has some real loyal fans out there. So, bear with me and we'll have him back shortly. So with that being said, we've got Kristi Baldwin. She's an instructor, and she has a class coming up this fall for us. The class is Certified Associate in Project Management. And that class starts September 12th, and it's on a Saturday, and it's 3 Saturdays. Is that right, Kristi?
That's correct.
That's right. But before we even go any farther, I have to do the official welcome. And you guys who listen to the podcast know that when we say welcome, the timer starts. And Kristi, we got 20 minutes to have a conversation. And I think we're both going to find out this 20 minutes is going to go by really quick. But
I think so.
Kristi, introduce yourself a little bit. I know I've already given your name, but I think you've got some titles after there. And I know you've got many years of experience in this field. So I'm just going to kind of turn it over to you for a second.
Great. Thank you, Jason. And thank you for inviting me to do a podcast with you. I'm very excited. I'm a project management professional, which means that I am certified in project management with a PMP. It is a global certification, so it's good and valued in any part of the world. I am also a project management geek. I love project management, and I think it should exist in high school, in grade school, in college, because everything we do in life is a project. You know, you start a new project every time you start a new business or a new procedure or, work around your house. So I'm always out promoting project management. I've been doing this for, without dating myself, more than 20 years. I started in IT, so I started with a technical background. Working for the Walt Disney Company. And when I moved from California to Pennsylvania, I did freelance work, and it was very lucrative. But I was then introduced to project management and was like, okay, so do I go down the path of project management, or do I go down the path of being more technical and more involved in networking? I chose project management, and I have not regretted it one day. I've done pilot programs. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I want to stop for a minute because I'm afraid that unfortunately for my audience, I'm always, they know I'm not always the smartest one in the bunch. So let's talk about project management in and of itself for just a minute. Okay. You were with Disney. I'm assuming you love Disney. I've heard great things about people who work for Disney. They seem to love it. Somewhere you got introduced into, it was funny how you said it. I got introduced to project management, so I could almost see like, well, I've got, do I like a Ford or a Chevy, or, I don't want to minimize your
exactly.
decision. I imagine it was a little bit more than that, but you chose one and left the other. I'm sure there's still some IT, but what is project management, and why was it so alluring? Is that the right word?
Well, I think because, I think because there was a lot of organization and control, and you really got to drive the outcome.
Okay.
right? So it wasn't, so I still did a lot of IT projects,
Right.
but now I had a better understanding of the methodology, like what comes first. In IT, it's kind of driven by the technology, but project management happens in every single industry today.
Okay.
Every industry does projects. So it was something that I could take and do anywhere. I can do
Okay.
it personally. I can do it professionally. But it is, and it is especially attractive for type A personalities, right? People who like to control the outcome.
Sure. Okay. Right. So, in other words,
So,
you like to tell people what to do. Is that what this is? No, it can't be
yeah.
that simple. Please tell me it's not that simple.
Well, it is. The biggest skill set you learn from project management is how to get people to do things that they may not want to do within the time frame that you need to do them. And
Okay.
so learning about project management teaches you those skills.
Right.
How valuable is that in day-to-day work, is being able to manage a group of people you may or may not have known and get them to collaborate willingly on a project to complete an outcome for the betterment of whatever that project is going to
Right.
deliver.
So,
So
on these projects, so I come from a kind of an interesting background. My dad was a foreman for quite a large masonry outfit based out of Wyoming, and this was years ago. And he was a foreman, so that was his job. Schools, large malls, any of those large brick and mortar, cinder block kind of structures. So I'm kind of familiar with like a project, but that's the only context I have is construction. And you're using the term project management beyond just that area of construction, right?
right. Yeah, and project management, the whole methodology was built from a construction and pharmaceutical background. So the people that started the organization had those two backgrounds, pharmaceutical and construction. And so that's where it was really born. But, can you think about other places that you use project management? Real estate, development work,
Oh,
right?
right.
Marketing. Right? You're going to market
correct.
something. What's the project to market that? And what's the deliverable?
Well,
Right?
and the different components, right?
Right.
So in all those examples, right, from development to marketing, there's different people who have different skill sets that contribute to the outcome or the
Exactly.
product,
Yep.
right? Okay, very cool. So that part, I'm assuming is much, like you said earlier, that was the attractive, but not just the being the boss, but maybe
Right.
being able to see the big picture, right?
Right.
When I was a kid, I worked for my dad, right? My dad was a foreman, and he dragged me out there, and I'm not going to tell you what age because OSHA was around back then too. But when your dad's the boss and he wants someone to go sweep floors, that's what you do, right?
Right.
Well, a large school was being built, and my knowledge of what was going on was whatever task I was given that day, right?
Right.
But someone who's interested in project management wants to know what the big picture is, right? What the whole project, what it takes, other than just the poor, kid in there sweeping the dirt off the floor, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And so I've spent my career, my perception about project management was project management can be done anywhere, and each organization implements it a little bit differently. But I've been in manufacturing, telecommunications, healthcare, construction, high schools. I've delivered project management in high schools and taught high school students how to do it. But even though it's implemented a little bit differently, it's project management. It is the ability to deliver a service, a result, or a product. So
cool.
where do we not do that?
Everywhere, right?
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
So
Everywhere.
PMI publishes an article every few years, and about 2 years ago they published an article that said that in the year 2025, I think they said, there will be 19 million people that need to be project managers. There'll be a shortage.
By when?
By 2025.
Okay.
So when you think about that, because now what's happening is, how many job descriptions do you read that don't say should be able to manage projects or We want you to be able to manage projects. So there's two different paths. It's a skill set and it's also a profession, right? A certified
Right.
profession. So you can be a project manager and work in any industry, or you can work in your specific industry and have project management skills.
Okay, so let's talk about that, right? So there's a skill set. A skill set to be a project manager. I'm assuming, and again, just treat me as if I'm a neophyte here. So there's a skill set that you learn through an academic or a study or a learning type of format. But then there's also the skill set that you learn by actually doing it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
well,
and then there's a certification. So I can be a project manager without being certified because
yes.
I just know how to do it. But I also can then become certified. Is that what I'm understanding?
Exactly. And here's the interesting part is a lot of people come to me and say, I want to get certified. And I'm like, well, what have you been doing? Because to get certified as a PMP, you have to have so many years experience. To get certified as a CAPM, you only have to have 23 hours of classroom experience. So,
Okay.
but when
and
you do apply,
that's that associate, certified associate
yes,
project management. Okay.
So you have to have 23 hours of education and you have to take an exam. But a lot of people, when they fill out the application to take the exam, they don't think that anything they've been doing is project management. But it is. It's learning the language, like what is a project? Now you know what a project is. If you look at your work experience, how many of those things have you been doing that were actually projects?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So you just didn't know the language to frame it that way.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about the CAPM is that it introduces you to a new language. It gets you that background so you can have the conversations when you go to job interviews. It inspires you sometimes to go on and get a different certification. Next one up is the PMP. But it brings a lot of different skill sets. And in the class that I teach, I don't just teach the academic part of it. You actually do a project. So you get the applicable experience of, how do you write a scope? How do you do a business case? How do you build a schedule for your project? So you know what happens first and when you're going to finish.
So
right?
let me just clarify. So the class that you're teaching for us, someone will get their 23 hours in that class. And then they will be prepared at that point to sit for the test.
Correct.
Okay, very cool. And so here's my next question. And this is, again, I'm sorry, but it's who wants the certification? I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, where's the cookie? You know what I mean? Do I get paid more? Do I more job opportunities? Why would, you know what I mean? What does the certification do?
So PMI is a global organization and they are recognized globally. So when you
PMI
have that certification, Project Management Institute. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Headquarters is in Pennsylvania. They just celebrated their 50-year anniversary last year. Very well-known organization, very well thought of certifications. Now, that's in the field of project management. It's not to say that it is the only certification, but it is widely recognized. And so to have that, you can get the CAPM right out of high school, right?
Wow.
You turn 18, you could take that test, take the
You're
23
eligible to take
hours,
the test.
and you can take the test. Now, they're also working on a high school one, but I won't say too much about that. But it is a widely recognized. People know what PMP is, and you'll see a lot of job applicants that say prefer PMP or required PMP now. But it is. But let's talk about the money.
Okay.
You can make really good money as a project manager. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah.
You can make well over $100,000 a year as a project manager, and you don't necessarily have to have all of the jobs that I've had. Manufacturing, telecommunications. I went into those industries with no background in those industries, but I know how to do project management. I implemented project management differently in each of those industries, but I know project management. My job was Siemens. I have zero, and I mean zero clinical background, and I'm now project managing the installation of medical equipment into hospitals. I don't need to know how the clinic works, but I need to know how to do project management.
Sure, because the different parts, right? You coordinate those different elements, those different parts,
Yes.
the different components, skill sets, people, and
Exactly.
help them and get that goal done,
Yeah.
and achieve that project.
Exactly.
Very cool.
So it is a very well-paying job. So, you know, it does have that cookie at the end.
Sure. Well, I want to go back to this. I mean, right out of high school, right? I mean,
Yes.
right out of high school. So, and by the way, yes, I'm having a cough. I do not have COVID, but I do got a cough. So I'm going to go mute for just a minute. Sorry, Chris.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. You like this now, the new reality we live in? If we have a sneeze or cough, we got to explain it. I mean, either we're full blown, infected, or hey, I just had a natural human response.
Yeah.
I had a natural human response, and it does not indicate that I'm dying here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have a little sip of my coffee. Oh, sorry about that, crew. Apologize, but no. So let's go back to this. So you said 18. And at 18 makes you eligible, in addition to the 23 hours training, to sit
Correct.
for a test and earn a CAPM, correct?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden that shows up on your resume, and that starts putting you eligible for jobs on a career path that opens doors that would not have otherwise been open. Would not have been otherwise open.
And they even have little badges that you can put. If you have LinkedIn, you can actually add a little badge to your LinkedIn profile. Yeah. So
very cool.
And they're working on a high school one. So I've been doing high school pilots for many years in the Pennsylvania area, and we've been teaching project management to high school students. Seniors for 3 different locations, and then we did 9th grade in 2018. But PMI, has always thought that project management should start in the K through 12 arena, not after you get out of high school. So they're now going to come up with a certification for high school students, because most high school students have to do a project to graduate high school. But
oh yeah.
But what do they really know about project management? They're given this project. They don't know anything about it being a profession. It's an assignment, right? In their minds, because it's all about the language.
Yeah.
It's an assignment. I have to do this assignment in order to graduate. But what if they can get a certification?
Right. No, I just on that little, my wife is a high school teacher, and she was at one time the advisor for senior projects. And no one took it like a project. It was an assignment. You know what I mean? Right. And like any good high school student, every assignment can only be done with 48 hours left to go.
Exactly.
And that's not project management by any means. Right. But no. So again, this. What I guess I'm trying to, what strikes me about the conversation we're just having is that this is a certification, and that opens a door to a field that I'm assuming, once you have that, you have your certified associate in project management, and then you become a project management professional. You could still add on degrees and specialties and field studies and all those, but without those 2 initial things, or at least the initial one, there's a door that may not be open to you as far as career-wise.
Well, and I think that you could exhibit project management experience in your resume, but having that little gold star that says, not only have I done it, but I was proven. My knowledge was proven by the certification.
Well, and that means something to employers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It means something out of the game.
Right.
So this class, anyone is eligible to sign up for the class who's over the age 18?
Yes.
And it starts again on the 12th of September, and then they take the class, and they sit for 3 Saturdays to get their hours, and you walk, and then they're prepared to take that test.
Yep.
And
Right.
then they take the test, not through you per se, right?
Right. Through PMI.
Through PMI.
So you fill out the application. Your application is accepted. There is a fee to take the exam. I think it's $300 off the top of my head. You sit for the exam at a Pearson VUE
Okay.
testing center, or ISU might have one there. I'm not sure. And then you get your certification.
There you go.
Now, the CAPM is only good for 5 years. So the perception is that in that 5 years, you will then have the experience to apply to take the PMP.
Okay.
So that's the next level up. With the PMP, you have to have 4,500 hours of experience and a degree. If you don't have a degree, you can apply with 7,500 hours of experience. And again, you would have to take the exam.
Take the exam.
Yeah,
So
and
the
then
idea
that looks good with your maintaining the certification every 3 years.
Oh, so just keep that up going that way.
Yeah.
You know, I think what is interesting, I guess, is this isn't something I've heard per se, right? When you talk about career fields, is project management, and forgive me for saying this, dear sweet Southeastern Idaho, is project management a bigger deal in different parts of the country, or am I just been with my head in the sand, so ignorant of this for so long that I'm not aware of this?
No, you're right. It is widely known on the East Coast, of course, in California. So PMI has local chapters. And in every area, they have chapters of people. So I went from a chapter of 3,000 to a chapter of 200 here in Idaho. So you're right, it isn't very well known in less density of population. So I am a member of the local chapter, and I can tell you that, you know, they do try to reach out to organizations. There's every organization here in Idaho does projects. So it's just a matter of saturation. For me, it's a great opportunity because I love to talk about it and I love to teach it. So,
well, and I could actually, I could see why this might be a big deal to our employers in the area, right?
Yes.
Because they're doing this already. Let's encourage to build a specifically skill set in a group of people who have taken this and developed a skill set to make what we do more efficient and more productive. And maybe I don't have to spend as much time training someone, right, to do it. They have come in with the already set of skills, and that just kind of moves us farther down the road.
Right. And you can apply it with anything.
Right.
With any job. That knowledge that you learn about project management can really be applied in so many different ways. Even it will just make you more organized doing whatever task you're doing because you think about it differently. You use different language around it.
Okay. Well, Kristi, did you hear that horrible noise about 2 minutes ago?
I did not, but it kind of feels like it might have been 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was. I have a little timer here and it goes off, and we make a commitment here on this show that we keep it to 20 minutes. And I got to tell you, I set a poor example. I'd never get it 20 minutes. Kristi, I want to put a last 1 minute plug in. Your class starts on November. Your class starts September, folks. September 12th. It's a 3 Saturday class, 8 hours each.
Yes.
Okay, 8 hour class. And I think this, if you at all feel like you connect with the personality type or the skill set that Kristi described, and you're kind of ready to open the door to a career or at least opportunities you might not have available to you before, I would encourage you to check us out. And you do that at cetrain.isu.edu. That is cetrain.isu.edu. And Kristi, can you give me the name of your class?
Certified Associate Project Management Training.
There we go. And that's it. So when you go on and you hit cetrain.isu.edu, just type in certified project management, or project, and that search engine will take you right to the website, right to the class on our website. And I want you guys to look at it and check it out and see if this is someone right for you. Kristi, I thank you for having me be on our show today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You know, I kind of want to have you back like next semester so we can talk about how the class went.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
That'd be a fun conversation, right?
That would be a fun conversation.
Give some people some insight of what to expect.
Right.
All right, folks. Well, Kristi, again, thank you. Hang tight, Kristi. But right now, I just want to say goodbye to everyone at cetrain.isu.edu. Please check us out and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.